Okay, hi, hello everyone. My name is Rifkin, also known as Rifking on Twitch. I'm going to go over some of the really basic things for Diablo 3 right now. The main reason I'm doing this is because I've had a lot of people I've interacted with not know how to do things that I've always considered to be common sense. Additionally, my dad plays and doesn't know a lot of things either, so this video is partially for him. The first thing we're going to go over here real quick after I log in is quite frankly, game creation. Now, if anyone's watching this is kind of like a dumb moment. I apologize, but some people really don't know how to do this. The one thing I want to go over first, before that though, is you'll notice here in the bottom left we have our chat. And as soon as you join chat, it automatically puts you in the general chat. 9 times out of 10, this is just going to be gold farm spam, so just hit enter, type /leave, and it removes you from the chat channel. Don't have to worry about getting spammed or scammed or whatever. Just stay out of the chat. It's not worth your time, trust me. Now, the first thing to do here is a lot of people default go to public games, look for their quest to join. You know, I'm on this quest, I'm on that quest, let's join in and join. Public games are not bad, by the way. I don't discourage using them. However, sometimes you might want to play alone, you might want to play with your follower or level it up or just have some peace and quiet. If that's the case, you can go here where I have resume game, it might say start game for you. And it'll just put you into the game at whatever your current quest is. Now I'm going to leave this game real quick and show you how to change your quest. All you gotta do is hit change quest, select your difficulty, so let's say you're playing on normal mode, it's your first time through, and you don't want to start all the way at the start. You go to Sword of the Stranger, pick your quest, your sub quest, doesn't matter, that's where you'll start. And if you don't like where you are, you can always leave, change quest, and go to one you do want to continue at. For the sake of this, I'll just pick this one for now. Warning, starting a new game will overwrite your currently saved progress. This is irrelevant, it just means whatever game you just left will no longer be available to you. So if you left items on the ground or something stupid as leaving, they will be gone, don't expect them to still be there for you. So then you start your game and you'll notice right away that you're at whatever for a quest. Different than where you were before. Checkpoints, by the way, this is one thing I'm just going to cover very quickly. They're where you spawn if you die. Waypoints are checkpoints, some parts of the map are checkpoints, and quest points are also checkpoints. Just basically means if you get killed by a monster, you'll be sent back to this position instead of all the way back at the start of the game. But that's whatever, that's pretty simple stuff right there. Going into the stuff people might not know about though, I'll go back to the main menu. We're going to quickly talk about joining games, quick joining games specifically. Now, I've got my friend T here willing to help me. You'll notice he's created a game here, Richard Wade. Under the quick join list, I can just click his name on this list, and it will join me to his game automatically. I can kind of come in wherever he's at, it'll put me, you'll notice now I'm in Act 2 instead of Act 1 on his quest, and I can help him continue. I will get quest rewards, XP, and gold as he gets it, but if I leave the game, I won't be where he is. I'll still be wherever I was last left on a quest. Now, having auto join on is by default, and it can be very irritating sometimes because maybe you're fighting a hard monster and your friend joins the game and makes the monsters even harder, and that's the last thing you want. So what you can do here is you go to the options menu, go to gameplay, and social tab, not gameplay, and just uncheck allow quick join. T, I'm going to get you to do this for me real quick, so I'm going to leave the game. If you turn off quick join, what this does is it takes you out of the quick join list on your friends list, so I will no longer see Richard Wade's game on this list. However, I can still join his game if I want. I just simply have to request an invite first by right-clicking his name and hitting request invite. This gives him the option to say, no, I'm in the middle of something difficult, you can't join, or if he chooses to invite you, you just click the check mark and you're good to go. Back to partying like normal. Now, a couple things I'm going to cover before leaving T alone, thank you again for helping me by the way, is opening trade and inspecting. A lot of people don't know how to trade gold in this. You'll notice there's no way for you to drop gold on the ground. You can drop items as many times as you want, but you can't drop gold. The way to transfer gold from one player to another, if you're, maybe lending them gold for something or getting services done, you just right-click their name and hit trade. Real simple, right? Type in the amount to trade, everyone's good. He's giving me a gold back. Now the important thing here is if you have your inventory open, or you're in your stash, sorry, you'll notice there's a little hourglass above your head. This means you're busy, and other players might be busy too. T, would you mind going to your stash real quick, just so I can show people? In this instance, where T is busy, I cannot right-click on his name and open trade. I can try, but it will say the player is busy. So if you ever see someone with an hourglass above their head, it means they're currently unavailable to interact with. Just give them a moment or ask them to close their inventory or stash, and you can trade with them again without any issue. The last thing to cover with T here real quick is maybe you're curious about what gear he has. You don't want to ask because you're shy or something, I don't know. You can also right click their name and hit inspect. If you move, it will close the inspect window, so you got to stay still for this. But you just simply inspect them. You can mouse over their items, you can see what they got, like, oh, he's got the sick bow. But what it also does is allow you to see their skills. So you can see he's using Hungering Arrow, Smoke Screen, Elemental Arrow, etc., including his passives. It doesn't show runes, unfortunately, but you can always ask. Encourage friendships. I don't know. Thank you very much for lending me your time, T. I'm going to leave this game and go over some other things now.
You're welcome.
So as you can see, it doesn't. If I were to resume the game, it would put me back in Act 1 in the quest we had picked before, not the quest and the act that my friend T was in, because I haven't caught up to him yet. Or, well, I have, but you know what I mean. Now, some more advanced stuff to go over here. This is kind of like level 2 basics. I'm going to talk about key bindings and control clicking and advanced tooltips. Now, you notice prior to this, I cleared off my bar. I've got nothing on my bars really, just auto attacks with my wand. I can't do a lot. You also notice here, this doesn't say 1, 2, 3, 4, and I believe this is Q by default. I've changed my key bindings around, and that's what I'm going to cover next. So maybe you're not comfortable pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just a little bit too high up the keyboard, or you'd rather press Z, X, C, W. Whatever your choice is, you can change keys to be whatever you want them to be, and make them a lot more easier and comfortable for you to play with. So you go to the options, you go down to key bindings, and to reset a key, by the way, if you choose one you don't want, there's always the option to reset it to the default settings and start over. But here's, for example, my potion button is mouse number 4 currently. If I want to put it to, say, P, there you go. Now whenever I hit P, I'll drink a potion instead of mouse button 4. I'm going to put it back, because that's what I'm used to, and I don't want to die. But always hit apply once you're done. So you can change your action bars to QWER, Town Portal. You can change pretty much any key binding in the game to be something more comfortable and usable to you. One of the easiest things, or one of the neatest things, is there's emotes in the game a lot of people don't know about. That's using your number pad. And you can bind those too to whatever you want. So if you want to spam like...
Just 1 second here. That's my fault. Farewell. I don't know why I trouble myself. Make a run for it.
You can get some cool different emotes going on. Play around with them with friends, whatever. Spam them, be annoying. It doesn't... Do with them what you will. But that's it for key bindings. It's pretty simple. If anyone has any questions about those, feel free to contact me through YouTube or Twitch, and I'll try and help you out best I can. The next thing I want to move on to, though, is control tooltips. Now, I have advanced tooltips on by default. I'm actually going to go turn those off in the same way that I'll show you how to turn them on. First off, by the way, under the gameplay tab, what you should do is take a moment and check pretty much every box in this window. Find the ones that are, of course, most relative to you, because by default a lot of them are unchecked, but they let you see the amount of damage numbers you're putting out, so you know whether you're doing a lot of damage or no damage. They let you see how much you're getting healed, so you can figure out whether you need more healing and whether you should take a potion, etc. But over here, these are the two I want to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about advanced tooltips, then I'll talk about elective mode. So applying this, accept, close the windows. This just simply shows me what the skill does. Wave of Force. It does whatever. I have no idea how much damage it does, but I just know that I have this cool skill that does this. By holding the left control button over it while I use it, I can see that it does, 60% of movement speed slow and a 200% weapon damage. So I prefer to have those on by default so you know exactly how much damage you're doing at all times. Maybe you don't, that's fine. But the hotkey for it is if you don't have them checked off, simply left control, and you can see exactly what each spell does specifically. Let's turn those back on and leave them on, because that's how I like it. Next thing I'm going to cover here real quick is if you control on the ground. Oh cool, I see that there's a really cool staff or spear or something legendary over there. I'm too far away and I don't know whether I should pick it up. If you hold control over it, it shows you the stats of the item without even having to pick it up. So you can simply walk over, pick it up, of course, and then have your inventory. You're good to go. But that's pretty much for the control keys for this. There's not a whole lot that control does. It's just going to help you find out more information about things. You can, of course, rebind that through the key bindings to whatever you like. I'm going to show you elective mode here next. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know about this, but in the skill window, you can only pick, my left click can only be one of these 4 skills. Okay, electrocute. My right click can only be one of these 4 skills. Let's see, arcane torrent. Yay, cool. But wouldn't it be great if you could put one of those skills somewhere else or use more than one of those skills in the same window? You can, but the game does not have that checked off by default, and it's not complicated to do. You just hit Escape, Options, Gameplay, Elective Mode, and check that off. Apply, accept, return to game. Now when you go to the skill window, let's say I want Magic Missile on my left click. Now, by rotating through every spell I have in my book, I can put Electrocute on my right click. So now I have two spells that would normally only be limited to my left click. And you can do that with every bar. My Q will be this one, my W will be this one, and now I have all 4 of my left click spells bound to things I can actually cast. You can do it with any skill you have on any set. It doesn't matter. I can put my left click could even become one that wouldn't typically be a left click. Time bubble. Normally that would be, I believe, default E or something, but you can mess around with it and find combination spells that work well together, because sometimes, for example, and I'm going to show you this one here, you can put the slow time bubble down and catch a bunch of projectiles in it, and then before it wears off, reflect them all back with Wave of Force. That's a completely different video, and you guys can figure that out later, but more importantly, it's about how elective mode works. Elective mode also lets you move your keys around, so if I want to drag that, move that there. Drag this over here. The one thing you guys do need to know though is skills that are on cooldown cannot be rotated out. You have to wait for the cooldown to finish before you can change that skill out to be something different. Additionally, when you're in town, there is no spell cooldown for switching spells. Normally, for example, if I switched Shock Pulse to say Magic Missile, I would have to wait about 30 seconds before I could use that spell, but since I'm in town, it's instant. You don't have to worry about that 30-second wait time. I'll show you real quick by going out of town. And I hope I don't get killed doing this. So, change this to Shock Pulse. As you can see, it's now grayed out, and I cannot cast it because it's on cooldown. Oh, run. But yeah, elective mode is great. You should always have it on. If you turn it off, it does lock your bar, so you can't accidentally drag a spell off of it. But I mean, let's be honest, you shouldn't be clicking your spells anyways. Moving on, next would be the shift attack. I've kind of got this list of notes I'm going down here, guys. Shift attack is something that is pretty basic for a lot of people, but I recently learned not everyone knows about it. My left click button, let's say I know that this NPC here, he's going to become a bad guy after the dialogue's finished. And I want to start attacking him from over here. Well, normally I'd have to wait for him to become red and glowy and then click on him and I'd start shooting him. However, if you hold your left shift button and click, it will cast for you and you will not move. You can do this with any spell, of course, to hold your position. That way you don't accidentally start running into monsters when you instead mean to shoot them. It also lets you shoot in a position where you know a monster will spawn beforehand, allowing you to get that little bit of extra damage in. It might not seem like a lot, but when you do it all the time, it really adds up and it helps your gameplay a lot. Shift attack and a move, by the way, will of course stop you, so if you're running, you shift attack, you will stop running. So just be aware of how that works. The last thing I'm going to cover over here for the basics real quick, guys, is scams. A lot of new players to this game will get scammed a lot by the unfortunate 12-year-olds that are out there that still find it cool. There's a lot of different types of scams out there. I'll tell you right now, if someone wants you to throw anything on the ground, don't do it. If they want you to trade them first without trading you anything back, never do it. It's real common sense stuff that you might not think about because it's an online situation. Keep in mind that people want to steal your stuff. It's just human nature to be greedy and want more, and other people are like that. So you can't assume that everyone you're going to interact with is the best. That doesn't mean doubt everybody, mind you, because there are some people like me who are really trying to promote the legitimacy of trades and other things. But for the most part, just be very wary of what you're doing. The biggest problem I have with a lot of new players, including my dad and others, is the worry of them getting scammed. Maybe they've got some gold saved out there saving for something great. And they go to somebody who says, I can give you this something great, give me the gold first. Well, they might just do it in good faith, that person runs off with the money, and everyone loses in that situation except for the scammer. So just always double think, think twice about what you guys are doing before you make trades. Don't do anything that, if you're even a little bit concerned about something, just say no. If this guy's like, hey, I've got this great money-making scheme, come to my game, and it's kind of shady, just say no. No thanks, buddy. You know, another time. You don't have to be rude, you don't have to be polite, but just don't get scammed is what it comes down to. Anyways, real basic video. I hope this helps anyone who does watch it in the future, and thank you.